Eddie Jones don't care. All right, baby. Eddie Jones don't care. He said, I'm not worried about your time. I'm not worried about what you think about me. Yo, they're about to show some stuff out. Average Drugger, no worries. I'm gonna get to your question at the end of this, and then we'll talk about it a little bit later because I'll explain what happened with Zimbabwe. All right. So look, so Eddie Jones has officially, we talked about it last week, officially been announced as the head coach for Japan Rugby National Team. So that wasn't a surprise, but his conference, uh, his teleconference for about the process, because if you guys don't remember what the story was, if you guys don't remember the story, there was the Abel Rojosa. Mike who? Eddie Jones. But if you guys don't remember the story, Eddie Jones obviously was with Australia during the middle of the Rugby World Cup. There was rumors that he was already talking to Japan Rugby Union about an interview and the possibility of taking over the national coach before they even finished up pool play, where they were just completely underwhelming, obviously, in the Rugby World Cup. One of the greatest national disappointments from an expectation level. Though, like I've always said, the state of rugby in Australia, rugby union in Australia is so dire. It really was an inevitability that they would crash and crumble this hard. But I wanted to go and show what Eddie was talking about whenever he was at his press conference for the announcement of the rugby, his taking over as a coach for Japan.
Well, I didn't do an interview before the World Cup. I was asked by the recruitment agency to share my experiences with them on Japan, and some people might have construed that as an interview. It certainly wasn't an interview. The first interview I had with Japan was in December, and that's the only interview I've had. Apologise to Australian fans. Yeah, mate, I gave everything I could for that short period of time, and it wasn't good enough. As we spoke about before, I had a plan of what we needed to do to change Australian rugby, and we weren't able to do that. Rugby Australia weren't able to help support that. So I decided to move on, and I wish Australia all the best. I feel terrible about the results of Australia, because I wanted to go back and change Australia. So I feel terrible, mate. Yeah, but I don't feel any guilt at all about this process. And I know you've been banging the drum fairly strongly on it. Right, but I haven't had an interview until December.
So obviously, if you guys can pick up on that, that was basically Eddie just being like, "Yo, hey, I was honest with all this. All right, it ain't on me. It on me. You guys are bad at doing reporting out here, putting rumors, and it's not going to be the first time Eddie been in contention against the media. I mean, honestly, it's one of the things that I like about him. Even though I'm a media person itself, I also know how exhausting it is to get questions out, and you got to ask the questions that people want to know but can't ask, and it can be rude or whatever. But I do like I like a biter. It's one of the reasons why I've liked Eddie. That being said, I found it kind of funny where he was like, they didn't interview me. They just were asking about what my experience was with Japan, because why would they be asking about my experience with Japan if they weren't thinking about trying to interview me? Like, it's funny. I love the bounce back. It wasn't me, man. I'm trying to help them. All right. I don't know if they're trying to look for somebody. I'm trying to let them know that even though you're the recruiting company, you need to find out from me about the client that you have that you're finding a new coach for, because the guy who took over for me is stepping down. What can you say to that? What can you say to that? But look, in reality, as much as honestly, that's BS, dude. Like, obviously, it was a pre-interview. Anybody can ask, even though they asked, like, there's a reason behind it. I'm sure that they did do the official interview in December. But of course, if you guys don't know, he's also like legit best friends with the president of the Japan Rugby Union, Matu Tsushida. because they coached back in '96 in Japan at Suntory. Tsushita was a head coach. Eddie was assistant coach. Yo, we're talking, almost 30 years of friendship going on. Like, and of course we know Eddie went ahead and, backed it up against with 2015 with the win against South Africa. And then of course that helped the culture with the long push in 2019. Like, I get it. Like, it's a natural position, it's a natural return position. Eddie's got the success out there, but what can we say? Yo, average rugger, even though I'm gonna get to your other stuff, man. I love bald-headed Eddie at it again. Let's go. Yo, let's go. But like with Eddie, again, it's not even like a dime toss. He's very predictable, man. The man's 63 years old. Like, he's not gonna be doing anything that's gonna be dynamically different. He's gonna sit the same rhythms. If you've seen like some of the parody stuff that they talk about with him, he does and sounds exactly what it is. So for him to go back to Japan, so it makes sense. They're gonna get ready for 2027, 2027. Go handle that out. See what we can do for that Rugby World Cup. And see what's the damage. Japan has a robust system. We know it. I do. There's not too much to have to like really build off of that, but I did find it funny, just the response, and I love the way that people are going about it. Like, there've been some real vitriol, like people really, really legit mad about what they have going on. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. Let me know what you guys think when it comes down to your day-to-day what your thought of the moment. You can hit us in the comments, join us wherever. Before I get on to the next subject, I wanted to talk about what Average Rugger had said. He asked, what happened to Zimbabwe? They were good at one point, only other African team to beat New Zealand at 15. What happened to New Zealand? South Africa happened to New Zealand. That's what happened. Siphoning talent goes through. Like, think about a guy like the Beast. Remember the prop who was, I would call him the secondary MVP for the 2019 Rugby World Cup. He's a Zim. Where is he playing? Is he playing for Zimbabwe? No, it's in South Africa. Why? The resources reside in South Africa. The bigger team resides in South Africa. The most opportunity resides in South Africa. So your Zimbabwe players are going out to South Africa. The professional teams are in South Africa. You go where the resources are. And so Zimbabwe kind of faces the same issue that Samoa, Tonga, well, maybe not so much Tonga, but Samoa, Fiji had faced for so long, where you get a talent drain to the more resource-heavy, more resource-consistent country in the world. So in their region, in their region. So makes perfect sense to me. It makes perfect sense. But they are still a team to be able to beat. But it's just not going to be the same just because you don't got it like that. I ain't convinced.